Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're doing fantastically well. So as you may know, the Overview Funding Program is what I have said in the past, probably one of the best instant access direct funding out there in the market. Essentially you have to do no challenges at all. You can go straight in there and trade with a live amount of capital. And why I also think it was one of the best at the time was that the prices involved were not astronomically high. You can have access to a $100,000 account for not a lot more than doing a normal challenge. But on the back side of that, there are also lots of negatives, and people have called these out to me in the comments on various videos on multiple occasions. And I've also experienced that myself by having my account suspended for violation of what I thought was one of the most trivial rules at the time, which was where you had to trade a minimum of 3 days every single week. And at the time I fell violation of that one because it was Easter holidays, markets were closed, I didn't bother trading on an Easter Friday and Easter Monday, and as such I ended up getting an account violation and suspended the account. But I've been keeping an eye on them, I've been seeing what's going on behind the scenes, and they have made some improvements as well as getting rid of those awful rules, not just the 3-day trading rule, but also the 2-minute rule. Now, if you were not aware of the 2-minute rule, you could not open and close a trade within 2 minutes of opening it, otherwise that was a violation. And if you had done that multiple times throughout the day, then again you can have your account suspended. And if you had done that and made profits, they would also be taken off at the end of the month. Now, as we know, mistakes are really easy to make. You can actually open a trade without thinking too much about it. You could have had the wrong lot size, etc. Want to close it off without too much risk, but you can't do that until 2 minutes are up. So it could actually get into a lot of trouble. But thankfully, those two rules have now been diminished. But unfortunately, they've brought in another rule, the trader value performance, which actually makes it sometimes a lot harder to actually get payouts. So what I'm going to do is go over that particular rule in a lot more detail, because when you look at the actual explanations on their website and their videos, it's not exactly clear. So I'm going to give you live real data of what I'm experiencing and how you can actually work around that one to get better payouts with OFP. So the other big announcement they have made is they've improved the dashboard. Now previously it was absolutely awful. It gave you no stats whatsoever. They've had to improve that one significantly, and I can see a definite step in the right direction. As well as they've also added a 60% and an 80% profit split payout. Now previously the two levels were 26 and 40%. Now a lot of people said 4% is not great, but when you consider the actual equity you can have to trade with, it's not too bad. When you look again, compare that to other prop firms that are giving higher profit splits, you have to pay potentially 5, 6 or even 10 times the actual amount to get into those particular programs to have the more favorable profit share splits. So for me, going up to the 80%, and though you're actually doubling the actual amount of equity to actually purchase the challenge, you could have actually just had two $100,000 accounts as an example, as opposed to have a $200,000 account with an 80% profit split. So let's get on to what I consider is one of the most challenging parts of this prop firm, and that is their trader value rule. Now essentially it says you cannot make more than 25% of your profits on any one given trading day. Now what they're trying to do is introduce consistency, and I don't think that's the right way about it. I would love to have a discussion with the team at OFP to really understand why they came up with these metrics or actually give improvements. Because for me, consistency comes down to following your strategy, doing the same things over and over again, having the correct risk management, not being massively leveraged or doing silly trade lot sizes. But for them, it's more around how much profits you're making per day, and you can't exceed that on any one particular day. And as we know, as traders, we can have fantastic days. We can get into any number of trades and they just literally hit our take profits, or we can keep moving our stop loss up and up and up. And for whatever reason, the market goes in our direction and we can get into multiple trades and make great profits. But actually with my first month back with OFP, I actually managed to violate this percentage rule purely by the fact that when I started the challenge, it was still on the, I thought, on the old rules of the 3 days and 2-minute rule. But unfortunately, when they transitioned over, I was then in this value rule, and as such I actually made a significant profit on one particular day that counteracted some of the losses I made previously. But when you looked at the overall profit for the month, I was well in excess of their 25%. So this time around for me, it was more around just getting a small daily return, literally looking at between $100 and $200 per day, which is nothing on a $100,000 account. But I wanted to just try and see how it actually affected the overall value rule. So as an example, if you make a profit on day one, let's just say you've made $200, your trader performance value rule will be at 100% because you've made all your profits in one day. If you then did that same amount of profit over the next 5 days, as an example, so you're only making small amounts, let's say $200 per day. At the end of the week, you have made $1,000, but because of the actual per day amount is only at $200, and therefore your overall percentage is going to be back down to the 20% and therefore eligible for a payout. And that's what I've been focusing on, just small percentages per day to increase the actual overall value. So this month I'm looking at a potential payout of just over 3.5%. I'm still about 5 days away from taking that payout, so let's see what they come back with, whether any other rule violations I'm not aware of. But my actual TP score is down in the low 10% at the moment. So theoretically, I could actually have a very, very good day. I could increase my daily return, let's say up to 1%, so $1,000, and that would not increase my TP in excess of the 25%. So you've got to start looking at this more in case of how much money have I made in the month? What is 25% of that I'm not going to violate any of the rules? And can I start to increase my daily gains to actually slowly increase my TP and still stay within the 25%? Now, as I said before, I don't think this shows consistency at all. All it shows is you can, on a daily basis, manage your expectations of not making massive profits, not getting into good trades that will run and hit the 3, 4, 5% returns, which, as we know, is quite feasible and easy to do in some cases. It's more a case of being consistent in not taking big profits, but using this more as an income account. That's how I see it, is that if I can make $200-300 per day, when you look at a 40% profit split, I will take out, let's say, $150 per day payout from OFP, scale that over the month. It's not too bad as an actual income, and it allows me to do other things with my life. So there are definite ways around this one. It's not the easiest one to understand, especially with the explanations actually on the website, but stick with it and you will actually figure it out and make some great profits and great returns and get the payouts from OFP. Now, in the past, a lot of people have said they don't pay out, etc. I've never had an issue with them actually paying out without any rule violations. I've been with many months before previously, taking the sort of 2-3% overall per month. Payouts, no issue at all. Yes, there have been some occasions where the particular rule that, again, I don't like is what they class as the Martingale rule. For me, this is actually a dollar cost averaging down rather than actually a true Martingale rule. As if you look at the gambling side of things, Martingale is explained completely different from trading. Here they say is you cannot open another position on the same instrument if you're actually in a negative. So let's example you on a swing trade for any particular reason on, let's say, cable, pound US dollar. Long term you expect it to go up, but obviously you are in a drawdown because it hasn't quite taken off yet. But in that particular day, you see a pullback and another retracement and a potential to do another buy on a more short-term time scale. If you were to make a profit on that one, again, they would remove that from your overall profits, which again, I don't think is justified. I think that's not a true Martingale rule. But again, it's listed on their website. So if you are looking to sign up with OFP, please go and make sure you read through all of their rules. Or again, send me a message and I'll try and explain what you cannot do with this particular prop firm. So overall, I still think they are direct funding the best one out there. They give access to the funds you need at not a massive buy-in price. But again, the rules, which I think are a bit restrictive, once you understand them and can actually work around them, make them work for you, then definitely there are some good payouts on the horizons, and stick with it and you'll make some good profits. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you again soon. Cheers.